Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Shikai here, co-founder of LongHash, and this is our first, Crypto Convos Spaces, and we're here to discuss, of course, Saga, the highly anticipated launch tomorrow. Love to invite Rebecca, the co-founder and CEO, on as speaker.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course, thanks for getting up bright and early in SF.
No, not at all. It is, well, very lucky. It is 8:08 a.m. here. And it's very, very late over in Singapore and for anyone joining us in Asia. So I really appreciate it. A lot of people have really made the effort to be here. So I definitely want to make it worth your while for however much time we get to spend together.
Indeed. Well, 11 p.m. here, but I'm absolutely pumped to have this conversation.
Awesome. Shikai, you always have great energy.
Thank you very much. And of course, let's kick it off with the energy, the vibes, the feelings. Well, for those of you, first time hearing about Saga or early into Saga, we are at 13 billion plus of the Binance launch pool right now. Reportedly the largest ever. Well, certainly the largest in recent memory. And in fact, I got the news that the listing is also brought in advance. It's going to be tomorrow, August 9th at 8 a.m. UTC. So it seems like things are accelerating, they're exploding. Rebecca, we're at the cusp of this great moment. How do you feel right now?
Well, I think, first of all, Shikai, thank you. And I've been in so many situations where something's going to happen, something big is going to happen. It's been enormously privileged and lucky. And my operating mode now is the more hype, the more excitement, the bigger things get, the calmer I feel. So right now, I'm pretty serene, especially because I have one other thing to add to that. We did have Binance listing accelerated. We will make an official announcement about that across our socials shortly after the spaces. But yes, it is now 8 UTC. So it has been brought forward by a few hours, largely due to demand. We also did crash the record for the most amount staked in a Binance launch pool at 13 billion plus. So thank you to our community and the Binance community for really showing up for this launch. And I checked the numbers this morning. It's one thing to have the largest amount staked. It means that people have deposited the most value into the launch pool. But we also wanted to see if we could smash the record for number of participants. So that indicates how broad the launch pool is and how many people have actually contributed to it. So it's not all just whales and whales and whales. And I can confirm, we'll put an announcement on this as well earlier or this morning, but earlier in our day, that we have smashed the record for number of participants as well.
Wow.
Currently standing at 487,807 participants. So that is the all-time record. Launch pool still has a little under 9 hours to go, and listing will follow shortly after. So if you are interested in participating, and you still have a little bit of time, but yes, the records are in our hands at this point, and we couldn't be more grateful. The team is absolutely pumped. We set up our war room yesterday, Sunday here in the States, and it's going to keep going until post-launch. So it's very, very exciting times, and the kind of support and excitement, really, that we've received from the community has just been insane. So we're filled with gratitude.
Yes, I can feel the shared excitement in the numbers and of course in the community here as well. I never tire of hearing the intro, but I guess we do need to again introduce Saga and why people are excited about it. And there are many ways to cut it, and I'm sure you've given this pitch 1,000 times. So today I'd just like to take from a quote that some went kind of viral on as like a repost. Infinite horizontal scaling. Now, what do these three words mean? What, why, how is it infinite? What is horizontal? And, why do we need more scaling? Or how is this scaling different?
Yeah. So Shakai, this is one of those moments where it just proves the old marketing adages: is you never know what's going to resonate, you never know what's going to hit. But the best thing that you can do is to be as true to yourself as possible. And we threw this out there because we feel it in our bones. This is what we have built, and we hadn't really expressed it in this way ever. But we decided, you know what, we're about to launch. Let's go ahead and throw it out there. And it went viral. So definitely hit a chord. And I think we hit the right moment for some reasons that I'll go into in a bit. But for all of those who may not know exactly what Saga is yet, Saga is an L1 to launch L1s. So there's no such thing as building on Saga mainnet. By definition, every developer who deploys on Saga is building on their own layer one or set of layer ones. So everything on Saga is a chain, which we call a chainlet, and it is a fully decentralized proof of stake chain. Now, all of our chainlets speak to one another through Cosmos IBC, and therefore you can have multiple chains supporting the same application, but it'll still feel like one app. So that's what we mean by infinite horizontal scalability, is that you can add as many layer ones as you would like in order to support your particular application. Now, in terms of on the front end, what do developers actually interact with? It is through VMs. That's the way that we protect our system, is you have to deploy in a virtual machine environment. And the first kind of VM we support is the EVM. Having said that, our goal is to be VM agnostic, and we already have innovators. Those are the people who build on Saga. We already have innovators who have built the Solana VM, the WASM VM, the Move VM, et cetera, et cetera. There are plenty of people in the community who have provided this core infrastructure, and we hope to bring those on board over the course of the rest of the year. But that's what we mean by infinite horizontal scalability, is that you can have as many L1s as you like supporting your application. Now, we did not anticipate that this kind of technology would meet its moment so soon in the cycle. But consumer pressure is consumer pressure, regardless of where it comes from. And I think more and more, even people who are crypto native are unwilling to tolerate high and variable gas fees and unreliable transaction settlement on these chains. And so when we open it up even more to broader retail, and of course to people who may not be crypto native but are either curious about it, or they want to play our games or accumulate our NFT collections, it's super important to have this kind of infrastructure. So I think it was partially that the tech has always been very strong. The design is very unique, but it had to meet its moment. And knock on wood, I think we've met our moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Indeed, we are so close, and well, the moment has been in the making, right? Through so many
Yes.
phases, testnets, innovators, campaigns, and of course, Rebecca, we've heard from you so many times every week, recurring. I love to actually call on right now a voice from the community early on to express some thoughts and questions. We have with us Yellow Panther, GM, sir.
Sup,
GM.
Panther? Good to see you.
Yes, great to see you, Rebecca, and thanks for having me, Shikai. And yeah, I've been following, Saga for quite some time. You guys been building through the bear and incentivizing the test net, and then you guys attending multiple events, really showing on ground, right? What you guys are all about and what you guys been building. So Rebecca, nothing but respect and a lot of admiration for you. And yeah, you guys are so close. I'm so stoked. And of course, I want to mention thank you for the airdrop, to the community. Just by holding or being in certain communities, you're able to get, rewarded by having some airdrops, which is, I think, not much chain or ecosystem have done. So kudos to you guys for doing that.
Thanks so much, Panther. Thanks so much for being on today. I know you have an insanely busy schedule, one of the leading lights of Web3 gaming. And hearing those words from you means a lot to me personally and to the rest of the team as well. We have been building for a long time. And Shakai, we'll probably get to this later in the conversation, but it is very true that none of this would have been possible if we had not really worked our asses off during the bear market and really fostered our relationships, continued to be kind and generous to the people in our ecosystem when times were bad. And now people are showing up because we all remember what we went through together. We made a lot of progress, and it's all coming together today. But Panther, I'm glad that you qualified for an airdrop. That makes me very happy to hear it. That means it worked. We actually went after the right demographic.
I also
Yeah.
contributed to the launch pool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ooh.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My goodness, look at you. That is so awesome. Well, thank you, Panther. You are incredible, and again, it means so much to the team to have the esteem of somebody like you. You've been in the space for a long time, and you've seen it all in Web3 gaming. Back to when it was just basically DeFi with pictures, to some very, very sophisticated games now, and you've stuck through it all. So thank you so much for all your incredible support.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for gaming on Saga.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Let us go there actually. So gaming, right? I feel that I've been shouting about gaming with everybody I've been speaking to, and yet people are still surprised with, oh, what, you're bullish gaming? Like, what happened? Like, why? And this is the perfect chance. Rebecca, both you and Panther, let's hear the story about gaming. I know it's for Saga. That one of the taglines is where crazies can dream their craziest dreams, right? So is gaming
100%.
crazy right now? Is
Gaming
it
is
crazy to
crazy.
building gaming, or is it a crazy time?
Well, I'm going to put a very inconvenient truth out there, which is that most people in crypto, I get the sense, are actually not gamers. So they love the rush of participating in internet casino, which is a form of game. But in terms of playing, Call of Duty, League of Legends, WoW, etc., there are some, but not all. Definitely not all, and that's totally fine. Not everyone is a gamer. I would say that I personally am a very selective gamer. So there are only certain kinds of games that I really love to play, and I tend to stick with them over and over again. I'm not one
What
of
are
those
those?
people. Definitely Call of Duty. Yeah, Call of Duty is one of them. I really like Zelda as well.
Which ones?
Journey. Oh gosh, I don't know if I
Putting
keep
on the
track.
spot.
Yeah. But what did I last mention? Journey. Day to day, no matter how busy I am, I'm probably going to play at least one round of Candy Crush as well. So I really love mobile gaming. Yeah, I know. I'm still on Candy Crush after what, like 50 years? Yes. But it's an addictive game. It's an addiction machine. I fully admit it. So anyway, handful of titles that I personally really love. Now that we're kind of getting to the horror genre ourselves at Saga, I've started to get into Resident Evil as well, finally, after all this time. And at any rate, I think that not everyone is a gamer. And so if it doesn't appeal to you, then it's probably hard to imagine why it would appeal to other people, frankly. And that's totally fine. But few things that Web3 gaming has going for it. So one is that I think wider gaming needs this. So the gaming industry right now kind of saw the exact same dynamics as the crypto industry. So in 2020, when pandemic shut down the world, people were at home with nothing to do. So you could work and interface with your family. And pretty shortly, people got very tired of both. So what are you going to do? You can gamble with crypto, but you could also game. And so gaming and entertainment really saw a huge expansion. Now, the thing about crypto is, I think when we start to come out of pandemic and a lot of the government expansionary policies around monetary policy and interest rates started to cool down, that's when we hit the bear in crypto. But the thing is, crypto is still at its core financial in nature, and so it can recover, in other words. And we've been seeing that recovery now with the start of a bull. With gaming and entertainment, these are industries based on products. It's not so easy to recover. So with entertainment in particular, you saw that every big studio out there put out a streaming service shortly after pandemic hit. And now streaming is bleeding money. They poured so much into just a never-ending stream of content, a lot of which is quite good. But the fact of the matter is, people are not staying home watching things for 5-6 hours anymore. Not that people were sitting there looking at a screen for 5 to 6 hours. It was more that people had it on as entertainment in the background. So regardless of whether they were paying full attention to it, it was on. And that definitely contributed to some very good numbers for the studios for a couple of years. Now that money is gone. That money is gone, and entertainment is struggling to figure out what is the next business model. And for gaming, so gaming, similar idea is that people are no longer sitting there for 4 or 5 hours gaming with their friends anymore. Now there are other things to do. And all the investment that had poured into gaming around 2020, 2021 timeframe, it definitely was an indication of overheating. And now the industry is in distress. Lots of layoffs from the big studios. The indie studios are in distress. A lot of games from these major portfolios are profitable, and they have great communities that have been there for a long time. But a fire sale is happening among these portfolios because, from the perspective of just the portfolio cash position, it doesn't make sense anymore. And I mean, honestly, publishers are starting to abandon their games. So it's a time of distress in gaming, but gaming is timeless as an industry. And I think any time that you go through this kind of trough, it is an opportunity for transformation. And we firmly believe that Web3 is that transformation. I think that if you say Web3 to a lot of people in the gaming community, immediately their ears turn off. Same for entertainment, actually, as well. So a better way to frame it when you're talking to someone who's maybe not crypto native or not really crypto curious or friendly to crypto is this is about UGC. This is about user generated content. How can we take the TikTok model and apply it much more broadly across any sort of content that we consume? So for gaming, it's modifying games, it's creating custom skins and avatars. It is really making real what's in your head and imagination in a game. And people have been doing this for some time. Roblox and Fortnite really popularized these business models. And I think a lot of the big studios are wondering, how can we get a piece of that magic? Because that is where the growth is right now. That is what Gen Z, millennials, alpha, this is what they want, is the ability to do UGC and keep control of the content, be able to monetize it. And that is what Web3 Rails gives to these generations. Same for entertainment as well. It's really in UGC. I mean, yes, the studios are suffering, but in terms of the platforms that allow for people to express themselves, to really explore creative expression more broadly, and share themselves with their communities, they are continuing to flourish. And so this is where the future is. And we firmly believe that crypto is going to underlie all of it.
Mm. Mm. Panther.
Sorry, guys. I apologize for the early morning McKinsey presentation here. The state of the gaming and entertainment industries. But now you know. Now you know that behind Saga, I'm sure that anyone who's familiar with our project and our brand knows this is, yes, it's gaming and entertainment. Yes, we're in crypto. And there's always a sort of joy and humor to that. But there is a very serious business operation going on here. And we're not messing around. I mean, we see the opportunity, we're going to attack it. And we've been doing that for the last 2 years already. But nothing launches you out there like an actual launch. So we're very excited for today. Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember at GDC, and this one moment on video also went viral where this group of developers just went out and had a scream, right? And their frustration. And I know a lot of them, they got laid off, they're frustrated with the state of the industry. And here we are, Web3 gaming, it feels like, early bull, and so many things are happening, and so exciting time, such an exciting time. Panther, you've been in this space for some time too, and I know you have to run in a few minutes. Paint us the bull case while you're still here.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to, and also very insightful to listen Rebecca, share her, insights about Saga and about gaming landscape as a whole. But for me, I am, I started from nothing, just like a pure gamer, And what Rebecca said was true, but I also want to say that a lot of old school RuneScape players are actually in crypto, and it has a very it's very close to home, I would say.
Mm,
And for me personally, I started on Steam and Epic and so on. We are not able to trade a lot of our assets, right? Although it's hours, we grinded hours for it, but it made no sense because at the end of the day, when we sell it, it's in Steam credits or like some in-game credits, which you know it doesn't make sense for me. But ever since I, discovered what crypto gaming or Web2 gaming or what Web3 is, I never went back to a Web2 game. Although, yes, the games are really polished. We always say this phrase: if you want to play great games, you can go to Web2. But if
mm,
you want something that empower your community, empower the players, and ultimately have true ownership, and also the way you're able to trade it, that's what true ownership is, right? And not only that, we are so far away from this phrase called um true player owned economy.
mm.
Right now we have the first part, right? The mostly about trading assets and stuff like that, but a whole economy, we're still waiting for certain few games which will be launching very soon to really showcase that, right? We want to see Web3 RuneScape happen. We want to see a lot of these happen, and ultimately, hopefully these big games coming in, big studios coming into Web3, we have great people like Rebecca and Saga and other blockchains to help them navigate them through this difficult a brand new environment, right? So I would say we are still so early, but we are not that early anymore, right? Compared to what Rebecca was saying earlier, like 3 years ago, we were literally reading white papers, right? And like figuring out and imagining what it could be.
Mm.
But right now, we are at the forefront and we are really looking at some of these games truly launching. We're not talking about alpha, beta anymore. We're really talking about open launches. So we are at a very exciting time. And people who never gave up, like some of the audience I've seen, familiar faces, you guys are the reason why, people like Rebecca, Shikai are, working so hard to push this industry forward, because we are about to see the real things happening, and the magic happen.
Awesome. I love that you brought up magic because Rebecca's one of her quotes there is euphoria is fleeting, but magic lasts a lifetime. And we are so close to seeing many games bloom, right? If I may actually share some thoughts around the gaming trend, one of the ways from a crypto perspective, crypto investor perspective, what I see is that many verticals have to go through what I call the two cycle journey, right? The chains, we had the ICO era, which was purely white paper, and then most of them just dumped and never came back. But now we have proper chains. DeFi, actually, there was a first wave of centralized order books and people trying all sorts of things, CDFi and so on, and then those died, and then we had the DeFi summer, and now we actually continue to see DeFi being a crucial part of the industry. Now, gaming had its first moment in Axie and the guilds, and it was such euphoria and so much attention coming into it, and therefore funding coming in. But then a lot of projects raised, and they were not ready yet. They just raised on ideas, and then we went into the bear market. But now, this is the second cycle for gaming, and all the players who have raised funds years ago, they have been building through the bear. Saga is not alone. So many gaming infrastructure, gaming studios, ecosystems have just been quietly building. And it's not just the Web3 native names, it's also the Web2 giants who are coming in, right? We spoke about RuneScape. There are nostalgic titles like MapleStory, like Ragnarok, and plenty more from the and of Eve Online, of course, legendary name. And all of these guys are building Web3 games, and that's not even counting the new studios and new ecosystems that come up from people who have come out from your biggest corporations like your EA, Ubisoft, your Riot Gaming, your smaller studios, and so many of them are in Web3, and they are ready to launch this year. And of course, some of the games I'm most excited about are actually using Saga. So among the crazies who are dreaming their craziest dreams are apparently Shrapnel and Parallel and quite a few others. Now, these are games which are I find super polished, and Rebecca, I'd love to hear the story. How, what is the magic they see in Saga, and specifically, what are we doing to support each other?
Oh, thanks so much, Shakai. So both to you and Panther for all those amazing insights. I mean, very clear that you guys have been in the industry for a very long time and have seen a lot happening. There's so much reason for optimism now. So it's really encouraging to hear all of that. In terms of what we bring to some of these your truly tier one games in the Web3 space. So we have obsessed about the developer journey from the beginning. It has to be as easy as possible for the developer to use. And what really massive games that have a lot of adoption or have a lot of on-chain activity need is block space. They just need block space. This is how you exist in crypto, is you have your own block space. And when you are building on a monolithic layer one, that block space is by definition limited. It can only grow as far as that particular layer one, and then layer one has to scale itself, if not horizontally through additional block space, then vertically. And there are limitations to the vertical scaling. So what we said was we wanted to infinitely scale, which means we are going to allow for horizontal scalability ad infinitum. So you can add as much block space as you want to your particular application. So we solve the block space problem. Now, once you have block space, you got to add to that block space. You have to be able to deploy onto it. And that's where a lot of some of these solutions around, say, rollups or side chains, where they start to fall down, because the deployment process is so incredibly difficult. And then once you are deployed, what the developer can actually do on that block space is quite limited. So we wanted to make deployment easy. Saga is now a web app. So of course, the full deployment of an application is not entirely through a web interface, but the initial deployment of a chainlet is just through a web app. So all you have to do is fill in like 5 parameters for your particular chainlet. It takes 5 seconds, and it'll take a minute for our validators to sync. But after that, you have your own fully decentralized proof of stake chain, and you can do this as many times as you want. And so the deployment process is super simple. We also made ourselves costless on the front end, so costless transactions at Saga. So the Saga token obviously does exist. That's why many of us are here, because we're launching later today. But the Saga token is used very specifically by developers to pay the validators to keep their chains alive. It's very much like a cloud model where you pay to AWS, for instance, to keep your cloud instances alive, your servers alive, or to any other cloud provider. And so this is how we have architected the developer journey. On the front end, we think that developers, who are all entrepreneurs in their own right, that they should be able to monetize however they like. So you can charge nothing. You can charge in fiat. You can charge in stablecoin. You can charge in your own token, obviously. You can also charge in the token of another ecosystem. Say you have a robust community already in Ethereum or Avalanche, Solana, Matic, Polygon, etc. You can continue to charge in that particular ecosystem's token. And really continue the familiarity with your community there. So there's that flexibility around the cost structure. Last thing I'll mention is interoperability. So as Panther so eloquently highlighted, what people really want when they come to crypto is freedom and control over their assets. And so that can't really be the case if you originate assets onto one chain and then it stays within that chain and it's locked there. So at Saga, we've always been about interoperability first. Now, interoperability within the Saga ecosystem is table stakes. That all happens through Cosmos IBC. But what happens when you try to go outside of anything that is IBC compatible? So outside Cosmos, in other words. So that requires fast bridging, and that is something that we uniquely do. Bridges will not open up until your transactions have settled, until you have finality of those transactions. Because all of our chainlets are fully decentralized chains, we get to that fast finality. and therefore the bridges open up immediately. You can get your assets out and start to transact upon them in other ecosystems. We also support that directly through integrations with bridges, as well as setting up storefronts across NFT marketplaces in other ecosystems like OpenSea, Magic Eden, Hyperspace, Do, etc. Those are some of the initial ones that we're setting up on. So while everything that I've described to you is beneficial to any kind of crypto application out there, it is pretty existential to gaming applications. And that's why you see so many of these big titles coming onto Saga.
Awesome. That is a very comprehensive answer to come back to. That's why they chose Saga. I noticed while you're speaking that quite a few questions have actually come in on the, I guess, the space thread on the LongHash account, and I also saw that somebody requested to ask a question. So I think here, I'd love to invite more people. Just put in your questions there, and anybody who would like to request to speak to, please put your hand up. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, thinking of your questions, putting your hands up, I'm gonna start with throw us in a different direction for now. And I'm sure many of the questions that will come out after this are going to be related to like the airdrop partnerships, what's in the future, mainnet V2. So for now, let me just ask a more personal question, Rebecca. You've had such a journey, law, politics, crypto, ballet, and then playing Candy Crush and Call of Duty at the same time. Can you tell us more about your journey yourself as a person? Like how did you bring this energy and trying to attract the crazies into crypto and gaming?
Oh my goodness. When you lay it out that way, Shakai, I do sound pretty crazy. But honestly, I've just always done what I like. It's really that simple. I've just always done what I like. And early on in my career, so I finished college a little early, and I was like, well, what's next? And I've always been passionate about the political system and social justice, and bringing power to those who don't have it. And so I decided to go to law school. And after that, I was a practicing lawyer for a few years, but bored out of my mind. And the thing about being a lawyer is that you never make decisions. You always advise on decisions, but you never actually make them. Well, you guys have gotten to know me pretty well by now, so you know that does not really jive with my personality, and I felt that I had more to give, honestly. So I knew that I wanted to get into the startup space and start to realize some of these ideas that I had. So first startup ever was Globality, which is in the AI space. This was early on in AI when we were all freaking out because nobody could figure out natural language processing. And in a short amount of time, how far we've come. But back then, I remember our engineering team was just tearing its hair out, not being able to take in language inputs from users and then actually generate good results from that. So, but it was awesome being early on in an emerging technology. And I headed up BD there. I founded and ran Asia operations as well. And we got backed by SoftBank. So about a year and a half into the project, we got backed by SoftBank. So it was very fast path to unicorn status. Was really fun to stay through the hyperscaling period. I think we grew from like 10 people to over 100 people in under a year. So absorbing that kind of headcount, that was an amazing challenge. And the first time that I really learned how to be an operator. But then I fell in love with crypto, and I stopped out at Globality and co-founded SkuChain with Zaki Mannion, who's one of the original builders in Cosmos. So for both of us, this was our first crypto startup. And SkuChain's more in the DeFi space. Zaki decided to start building something like Cosmos. He was already thinking about what kind of architecture would be required to make crypto a reality for mass adoption. And so he and Jay Kwan, Ethan Buckman, they started to really build out this system. And I was there for about 4 years as co-founder and COO. Grew the platform to about 5 billion in annual volume. Most of what we did was around RWAs, so providing short-term liquidity to small, medium-sized businesses. Meanwhile, while doing all of that, I was involved in a couple presidential campaigns. So I was part of the Clinton campaign in 2016 and then the Biden campaign in 2020, both times serving as a policy advisor. And in 2020, we actually won. So I thought that I'd be going into government. I was in DC for a while going through the nomination confirmation process for a role in the administration. But throughout that, I think what I realized, which everybody knew, I just needed time to really learn it for myself, was that once you have done early stage startups for such a long time, once you've been a startup founder, federal bureaucracy is not really the right work environment for you. So that's when I called up Zaki and said, "Hey, I'd really like to stay in crypto, I think." And he was like, "Well, you should talk to Jin." So Jin Kwan, who's our co-founder and chief strategy officer at the time, he was a senior executive within Tendermint, longtime senior executive, actually. And so we got to talking because Jin was very frustrated about Cosmos not having a real go-to-market strategy, not having a true dedicated BD effort. And so we started chatting, what does it take to bring what is arguably the best technology stack in crypto to the broader market? And then Jake McDorman, who is our co-founder CTO, he was also working at Tendermint at the time, also thinking about this problem, working on it with Jin. And then Bogdan, who is our co-founder and VP of engineering, he started to chat with us about this. And it was late 2021, early 2022, the idea really came together. And we decided that we were going to use shared security and restaking of a core validator set in order to allow for this infinite horizontal scalability. And that was the product. In terms of the go-to-market, we felt that gaming and entertainment badly needed this. Again, everyone can benefit from it. Gaming and entertainment badly needs it. And that's why we decided to focus our efforts there. And fast forward 2 years, here we are. So it has been quite a journey, but the whole time I've just done what I liked. And I've remained open-minded to being surprised by how good things can be. So I think for anyone who is making their way in this particular space, but also navigating career path of their own, I would maintain that openness over time. I think the tendency often is to start to hyper specialize, to shut yourself in, to cut off opportunities because you're settled. Don't ever be settled. Don't ever be settled. Doesn't matter how far along in your career you are, how old you are, it doesn't matter. Always have that openness. And it, knock on wood, has worked out for me so far. And if there's anything that I can give to people that I work with, people who are looking for advice, et cetera, from me, it is, please stay open and retain your capacity to be surprised by good things.
Awesome. Now, of course, speaking of being open to surprises, we got some community members come on for some questions. I'd love to invite Cool Crypto to ask a question.
Yes, yes. Thank you for letting me up. Big ups to you guys for this big Binance thing you guys are doing. You guys are breaking records. Awesome. Much love to that. Just a quick question. So I saw a tweet on Saga, and they had a poll up about like having almost 100 project states. Is that really a thing? Like how far you think that's gonna be? Are you talking like the next year, 2, 3 years from now? That's a big deal. For it almost seems like you guys are using the TM model, and if that's the case, this is just the beginning. You guys are gonna get a lot of traction from this. Of course, people like the staking and receiving something in return for helping secure the network. But just a quick question about that: is that really a thing? Of having 100 projects of launching on Saga?
Oh, thanks so much, Cool Crypto. So we put out a poll yesterday asking our community to guess how many confirmed airdrops, not theoretical airdrops, confirmed airdrops do we currently have? And the categories were about 10, about 50, or about 100 plus. And so we won't reveal the answer yet. We will soon, very, very soon. But put it this way, Saga does have a vast ecosystem. I mentioned earlier that we had been building very aggressively in the bear, and we have 350 projects that are currently building on Saga. They are currently building. And so most of those have tokens of their own. They certainly have NFTs of their own. But we also have an extensive partner network. And so these are projects that are already live. They have tokens that are trading. And so the value is publicly observable. And some of these are the biggest gaming projects in this space. So it is people who are building directly on Saga, but we are including in this airdrop our partners as well. So the structure of our airdrops, the cadence and all of that, that is going to be revealed very, very soon. We do have the details lined up already. I just won't reveal it right now because there's a whole campaign around this. But Cool Crypto, you are very sharp, and thank you for asking the question. Yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot. It's a big ecosystem.
And just one more thing right here, I just want to give you big props, man. This industry is dominated by males, and you being a female founder, you're doing an amazing job. I'm so blessed to be in this space to see stuff like this happen. It's a beautiful thing, man. Much love to you. You're doing an amazing job. Just to let you know, much love. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much. That's incredibly kind of you. But uh, Miss Emma, I see you in the audience here, the co-founder and CEO of LongHash, who has really driven this ship from the beginning. There are incredible women in the space, Cool Crypto, and thank you so much for that. I do think that there will be many, many more, and for all the women out there who are in crypto or curious about crypto and they want to make their way in this space, I would encourage them to just go for it. Go for it. You will get comments. I'm sure that you will come across things in your social media feed or even in person that that sort of take you aback for a bit. You can have that reaction. It's a very human reaction to just have that moment where you're like, oh my God, this really just happened. But don't let it affect you more than that moment. Keep going, keep moving, because there is very likely a team around you that relies on you to power through and to go for bigger things and build greater things. And as long as you keep that in mind, I think that you will do very, very well here. But Cool Crypto, thank you. I really appreciate the kind words.
Such a heartwarming message, Rebecca, and thank you for the shout out to Emma as well. Emma, I know you might be on the move. I invited you as speaker if you want to say a few things, but otherwise we can proceed. Just on a Cool Crypto's question on the airdrops, I know, Rebecca, as the team member, you're not you don't want to disclose. You want to do it at the right time. I guess as an external person speculating on this, if I'm a game and developing on Saga, and I would need to launch a token, as many Web3 projects do, right? This is a superpower that we have. Now, who would I, distribute the tokens to, right? Like, I would totally distribute it to the infrastructure and the partners and the publishers that will make my game succeed. And well, if Saga is a key part of that, I think it's just it's such a no-brainer that the airdrops will come. So I will, for one, definitely stake my Saga upon mainnet launch. Emma, I saw you come on.
Oh, thanks for the shout out, Rebecca. I just want to quickly say hi, and I wouldn't miss any opportunity for updates on Saga. And yeah, I think Saga has been one of the portfolios we've kind of backed at the beginning of the bear market, and we've really seen them building through the bear, and now I think finally welcoming the breakthrough and the key milestone moments of being listed on Binance. But that's just the beginning, and super excited for this multi-year journey together with Saga.
Hi,
Hi, can you
Shikai,
guys hear me?
Otherwise, Yes, you're back. Sorry, Zusi, just a quick reaction from Rebecca before we get to you.
Thank you so much for believing in Saga from the very beginning. LongHash is one of our earliest investors, and you guys supported us through the bear as well, and continue to be such incredible supporters. So thank you.
All right. I think we have time for maybe a couple more. Zusi wanted to come on?
Hey, how's it going? Can you guys hear me fine? Yeah. No, I've been pretty involved with Saga the last few months, and I'm just looking forward to it launching. But my question was around the staking of the tokens, and I was wondering if that was going to go live right away, or if that's something to look forward to in the near future.
Okay, so when staking, got it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But
Thanks, Zusi.
yeah, I'll sign off here because I think I'm going out of service again shortly. So.
Gotcha. All right, I'll be sure to relay your question. And
Yep, thank you.
I see we have SC Passion from Team Kujira.
Hello.
Yep, we got you.
Yeah, first congratulations for such a great success for the Binance Launchpad. I just have two questions. So maybe I missed out something. So is the launching a new chainlet permissionless? And the second one is like, I have a look at the, there's a Medium article about the launch phase. So as far as I know, there are 6 steps. I mean, it's a very complete step-by-step like launch. But is there a concrete timeline? So like from a team perspective, how long will it take from step 1 to step 6 for fully launch of the Saga V1? Yeah, that's my question. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you for the question.
Awesome.
Yes. I will actually aggregate the questions because Zusi also asked his as well. I think basically it's around the roadmap, right? There were 6 phases of launch, and where are we now actually in those 6? Is the mainnet permissionless when staking, and what else to look forward to? I guess we have a few more minutes to the hour, so whatever alpha you can drop, Rebecca, now is the time.
Yeah. So pretty easy questions because they're around the technical aspects of the system. So staking is available right away. It is available right away. So Saga tokens are held in the Saga wallet, which is a Kepler wallet. And for those of you who are familiar with Kepler wallets, you know that staking is just available. So you can stake right away. I'm not saying that we're going to put a clock on it. Once you get your tokens, you're going to have to stake immediately, or else you're going to lose out on the first airdrops. Not saying that at all, but it's pretty easy to stake. So you can do that. You can do that as soon as the network goes live. In terms of the phases for launch, so there are 6 phases. We are doing phase 1. For now, and it is a gated launch. So we will have a blog post out on that very shortly. But what that means is you still will need a token passphrase in order to launch a chainlet. This is to stabilize the system, control the volume of chainlets initially. That doesn't mean that there's a very small limit to the number of chainlets. I mean, we have stressed the system up to 1,000 chainlets. It's totally fine for us to bring on that kind of traffic, but it is a gated launch. And the 6 phases are about ungating that. So by the time we are done, at the very last phase, it will be an entirely permissionless system by which you launch chainlets. And all you have to do at that point is be able to pay the validators to keep your chain alive. So no need for any passphrases at that point. Well, of course, unless you're doing something subsidized with us, but then you can launch whenever you like. And so that's sort of the progression that we're looking towards. And in terms of time frame, it's over the course of the next few months. So definitely by the time we talk again, I don't know, in fall or so, we should be done with mainnet V1.
All right. Many milestones to look forward to, lots of momentum ahead of us. Any other last alpha tips you wanna, hint at? Maybe any big partnerships, milestones that you feel will really move the needle?
Well, I think that everything has been focused on launch for definitely the last few weeks, but especially the last week. So there have been a lot of threads, both on the engineering and business side, that we have more or less hit pause on until we have a successful launch off the ground, and then we get back to working on all of that. And so, post-launch calendar is actually quite extensive already. You'll see that as soon as we launch, a few hours after that, that is when we start talking about our post-launch activities. So nothing moves slowly here at Saga. There is so much to look forward to. And again, we have put in the work as a team to get to this moment in terms of the system, being able to take on that sort of infinite scalability, but also on the business side, building out this ecosystem and really putting together that go-to-market machine. And so, in other words, the biggest alpha that I can leave you with that we haven't mentioned yet is there will not be a post-launch exhale. That happens a lot with some projects where they launch and it's a huge effort. So I don't fault anyone for this, but they launch and then they sort of go quiet for a little while. We're not going quiet. The first announcement post launch for a huge initiative here at Saga is just going to happen a few hours after we go live. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. And once again, I just want to thank everyone for being here in our early community. I think anyone who joined us prior to us going live is considered early community. And you've been able to deploy in our testnets, really test out the system. You have been able to enjoy all the perks of being in our ecosystem. And all of this project has been able to give our community. You've shown up for that as well. But as nice as those things have been, there's nothing like being a live system. And the fact that you guys have put in the time and the effort, despite us not being live, we are truly grateful. We don't take that for granted. I don't think it's anything we'll ever forget. So thank you guys so much. This moment belongs to you as well. And we can't wait to share the next 36 hours with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Rebecca. Every time I speak, I feel that we can go on for hours. There are still people requesting questions, requesting to speak. For those of you, if we didn't mention cover yours, I request that you go ahead and tweet at us, DM us. There are plenty of channels. And of course, do follow all our official channels. We speak a lot about gaming, about, of course, Saga, and of course, all the official announcements coming up. They're super exciting. Now, until next time, Rebecca.
Thanks so much, Akai. Until next time, which I'm sure will be soon. But thank you again for all the support. This is the very last spaces before we really hunker down and power through this launch. So thanks so much for having me on. And for, again, as Shakai said, if any of you have questions that we didn't quite get to today, please feel free to tweet, get in touch with us. And I look forward to seeing you at Mainnet.
Let's go. Onwards to launch. All right.
Yes.
See you, everyone.
Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.